podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks. I think it's more stations than I've been saying. Lisa says it's 700 stations. Okay, I'll take it. All over the country, January 16th, 2021. This is episode 1762. Enjoy. A quick programming note. We're doing our annual TWiT audience survey. It'll only take a few minutes. It's completely anonymous, and it really helps us sell advertising and do programs that you want. Go to twit.tv/survey21 to take it. And thanks in advance. This episode of The Tech Guy is brought to you by Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows businesses to do all their mailing and shipping right from their computers. No need to leave your home or your office or home office for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale and no long-term commitment. Go to Stamps.com. Click that microphone at the top of the homepage and enter the offer code TWIT. Oh, hello. Hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. The Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got all the smart stuff. If you want to talk high tech with me, I'd love to talk high tech with you. Here's what you do. You go to 88, go to. You don't really go to that. You call it. That's the word Leo's looking for. You call 8888 Ask Leo, and it will all become clear. The world will open to you. Suddenly, you will understand everything. Well, I wish I could promise that. I can't really. No. 8888 Ask Leo. You know, if you still have some questions after listening to the show, there's a website that answers the questions. Not about life, the universe, and everything, but, questions about that we answered on the show, and that would be techguylabs.com. That's free, no sign-up, no entrance fee. Don't have to buy your tickets at the door. Just wander on in. techguylabs.com. Let's see. What should I talk about today? What's been going on? It's hard for me. I do podcasts all week about tech, and it's hard for me to remember what we've talked about and what we haven't. Remind me. Did we talk about the Helabyte? Okay, now you got to understand, I'm in California, and this is a very California crusade by a former physics student, Austin Sendek at UC Davis, who started a campaign. Now, you probably do know, about the different designations for bytes. There's, a byte is 8 bits. That's one in a computer. A bit is an on or off, 1 or 0. So 8 ones or zeros makes a byte that can represent 256 different states. And it's usually what's used to represent a letter in the alphabet. Uppercase, lowercase, numbers, punctuation, they all fit within a byte. When you get 1,000 of those bytes, we use, I guess it's the Greek word for 1,000, kilobyte. It's like kilometer, right? A kilobyte. Then 1,000 kilobytes is a megabyte. You've heard these, right? Mega, 1,000. Actually, mega's million, right? Mega millions. Isn't that that's a lottery thing in California? Mega million. So mega is a million of something, a million bytes. Then there's, after megabyte, there's gigabyte, gig. It actually goes on. You don't really often you hear terabyte for a hard drive, right? So, and then after that, it kind of falls off the edge of the earth, except no, there are more of them. There are many more of them. After gigabyte, terabyte, then 1,000 terabytes, which is, a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, which is 1,000 megabytes. So megabytes, a million, gigabytes, a billion, terabytes, a trillion. Petabyte would be, what, a quadrillion. There's another word you don't hear a lot about. Then there's, after petabyte, there's some more. There's exabyte. It's 1,000 petabytes. There's zettabyte. It's actually, I'm probably confusing things. 1,000 is a decimal, and really we should be talking in binary, so it's 1,024. But anyway, you get the idea. Zettabyte, and then finally yottabyte, which is 1,024 to the 8th bits. A yotta. These are all, they all come from Greek. It's called the International System of Quantities. And there's the International Electrotechnical Commission, the IEC, which publishes these standards and so forth. But we stopped at yottabyte. We don't have anything past a yottabyte. And you don't want to talk about 1 million yottabytes or 1 billion yottabytes. I guess you could. It doesn't come up that much. But this guy, Austin Sendak, 10 years ago, proposed that after yottabyte, we'd have Helabyte. And we're eventually going to get there. We're going to get there because, there's more and more things in the world. In fact, Google, if you search for something like bytes to helabytes, actually has a calculator, a conversion widget that will convert. They've kind of signed up. Sendak is now at Stanford. He's a software company CEO. Wolfram Alpha has Hella calculations. Now, maybe if you're not from California, you don't remember or don't know that Hella was commonly used. It's kind of Valley Girl speak. Oh, that's hella awesome, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, there are other proposals for what comes after a yottabyte. There's also a brontobyte, like Brontosaurus. This has not yet been resolved, I might add. It's still up in the air. Helabyte could still win. There's Ronabyte, R-O-N-N-A. That's kind of the leader at this point. I don't know why. 10 to the 27th. And Quetta, or Quetta, Q-U-E-T-T-A byte. That's what's currently being considered. Quettabyte is 10 to the 30th. Ronabyte, or Ronabyte, is 10 to the 27th. I like Hella and Bronto myself. Don't you? Anyway, I just wanted to mention this because it's not yet decided. Write a letter to your, I don't know who, the IEC, I guess, your member of Congress, and say, we want Helabyte's useful. The mass of the sun, for instance, you could say, is 2,200 yotta tons. But it's actually 2.2 helitons, which is better, right? The sun is 2.2 helitons. Instead of 300 yotta watts, it releases 0.3 helawatts. I like that. Somebody is in the chat room saying, lottabytes is still available too. I think at some point you just go 1, 2, 3, many. Yeah. The number of atoms in 12 kilograms of carbon-12 is 0.6 hella atoms. I like it. I don't know. Just thought I'd bring that up. Just thought maybe you'd want to weigh in on that, to write your member of the IEC. Say, we like, we're... Bronto is good. Hella is good. Rana and Quetta, that sounds like a girl's names. I don't know. I don't understand the value of that. I don't know where they're going with that. But that's currently the front runner, so let's get involved here. Let's stop this entirely. Speaking of science, I'm really glad to see that the incoming President Joe Biden is going to make the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy a cabinet-level agency, which means science will have a seat at the cabinet table. I think that's fantastic. He's selected a geneticist, or nominated a geneticist, Eric Lander. He's a mathematician and geneticist. He helped map the human genome, and he's the head of the Broad Institute, a Boston-based biomedical research center famous for its work on CRISPR, the gene editing technology. Also a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Harvard Medical School. Don't you hate these overachievers? Well, just pick one job. Just do one. Anyway, a good person to head this up. I'm so glad the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. This is something I and many of my geek friends have been lobbying for, because right now neither Congress nor the White House really has the information I think they need to deal with the modern issues today we're facing in science and technology. It's not, it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't expect our leaders to be scientists necessarily, but I love it that science has a seat at the table. I was really happy to see that. That's good news. If you got Apple Plus TV, Apple TV Plus, the Apple said when they started it that it was a free 12 months for the first 12 months. That was November 2019. And then they extended it to February 2021. They've extended it again. It's going to stay free because they realize if we make people pay for this, maybe that's not going to work out so well. So if you have Apple TV Plus, good news, through July. And who knows? It might go even longer. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. I see we have some calls coming in, so we better get this party started. Right, Professor Laura? Let's get, and we got Kim Schaffer is on the phone. She's ready to answer your calls. So I see no reason not to get this radio show underway. I hope you don't either. Ladies and gentlemen, we have awarded her the title Unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer, because Kimmy don't take no Schaffer. Hello, Kimmy.
Good. Hi.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day to you. That sounds so formal, yeah. You can't say good morning because in some places it's afternoon.
And I get yelled at on the phone.
Some places it's evening.
Some places it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We just don't know where you are.
It's a mystery.
Magical mystery.
Actually, it's technically every possible hour of the day.
Somewhere.
As my grandfather used to say, every day around noon. Well, the sun's gone over the yardarm somewhere.
My favorite's it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Who should I start with?
I want to start out on a good, fun, happy note. And 10-year-old Mason makes me happy. So
all right,
let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, line 3.
He's a HellaByte years old. I don't know what he is.
He's 10.
He's 10.
He's 10, and he's our future.
Wow, our future is here, ladies and gentlemen, on the phone right now. Hello, Nathan.
No.
Hello, Mason. I'm sorry. Hi, Mason.
No, Mason.
Mason, as in like Mason jar?
No, Nathan with an N.
That's what I thought. Nathan. Hi, Nathan.
Okay. Hello.
Like the hot dog. Do you know Nathan's hot dogs?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you say when because when I was a kid, I used to say my name is Leo as in mayo. That was a bad idea. What do you say when people ask you, what's your name again?
I say Nathan.
Oh. Simple, short and sweet. So what can I do for you, Nathan?
Yeah, so I have a question about the Linux operating system.
Okay. You are the future. Nice.
Okay. So,
okay, Leo, calm down, he says. Yeah?
And on Windows, and I was wondering, would it be a good idea to switch to Linux?
For you, yeah. So are you pretty comfortable with Windows these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're comfortable. You're happy. You're good. You know how to use technology and all that. Mm-hmm. Here's why Linux would be an interesting thing for you to do. It's going to be a little frustrating, Nathan. You're going to do stuff and you're going to say, I don't know how to do this. I know how to do this in Windows. How do you do this? But you will learn so much. And really, the most important thing you'll be learning is about Unix-based operating systems. UNIX. You know that term? Have you heard that term before?
I don't know what it means.
Yeah, so back in 1970, before there was Windows, before there was Mac, before there was DOS, there was Unix, UNIX, and it was the most powerful computer operating system out there. And it lives on in a lot of different ways. About when you surf the net, for instance, most of the servers that you're going to are running on a Unix variant. Linux is the most common, but there are others as well, BSD, and even Macintosh is based on a form of Unix. So Unix is kind of the original operating system. And I think learning it would be great. Do you want to have a tech career when you grow up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think people who have an understanding, there's a whole bunch of people who just work in Windows. They use .NET, the program in C# or JavaScript or whatever, TypeScript, and they use Microsoft products, and there are plenty of jobs for those people. But the people who really have the world is their oyster, whether they want to develop websites or they want to get a great job as an IT person or as a programmer, those people, I believe, are also familiar with Linux. So what you would be doing is you'd be kind of getting a jump start on your future. And, maybe the thing to do, it's a little more complicated, is make a dual boot. So you have one machine that can run either Windows or Linux, depending on your mood when you first start it up. So if you need to do schoolwork, for instance, are you using this computer for school?
No, the school gave us Chromebooks.
Oh, good. Oh, guess what? Chromebooks are running Linux. But you can't really, in fact, if you want to get to Linux, I don't know how well the school has locked it down, but there are ways to...
They on our computers.
Yeah, they lock it down. They won't let you do anything. But Chromebook, the operating system for Chromebooks is called Chrome OS. It's a Linux. It's a version of Linux, which is a free open source operating system. And what they did is they basically made it Chrome running on top of the Linux, and that's what you use is the Chrome browser. But Linux is under the hood, and if you have a normal Chromebook, it's very easy to get into the terminal and start using Linux commands. You can even install without removing the Chrome OS part of Linux. So you're already using Linux. They just lock it down so you can't see it. I think yes, you should learn it. It would be a great. What do your folks think? Because they're the ones who, I presume, they own the computer, unless you bought it with your allowance or something.
Oh no, they don't have an opinion. They don't know.
They don't know. You're the tech guy in the family, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. So you get to, yes, if you're allowed, just ask mom and dad, say, can I modify this computer? Because I want to, and you know what, if you say, I want to learn more about computers because I think I might want a career in computers, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing you could do, get them to give you $35 and buy a Raspberry Pi, because it comes with a version of Linux called Raspbian, the Debian Linux operating system. So you could play with that, learn Linux on that without changing this Windows computer. But to answer your question, somebody your age, absolutely, because you will understand computing so much better. It'll be a little frustrating at first, but boy, it will be a great experience. You will thank me later. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're asking about that, Nathan. Have you done any programming or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm learning web development.
Perfect.
So I've learned HTML, CSS, and the Bootstrap framework.
Oh, my gosh. Where did you learn that?
I got a course.
Good for you. Oh, you should definitely learn Linux, because all of that stuff can run under Windows, but it's really designed to run on what they call a LAMP stack, which is Linux. It doesn't have to be Apache, but Apache server. It could probably be Nginx, more modern. But if you have Linux, all of that stuff is designed to work. And the servers that you're running on are almost all running Linux. It's much easier to run it, in fact, on Linux.
I have another thing. I was watching a video, and it talked about flavors of Linux. What is that? So
Linux was created by a graduate student named Linus Torvalds. He's the La in Linux. It's actually technically Linus's Minix, but you could think of it as Linus's Unix, Linux. And he made it open source. He said anybody can modify this. Anybody can change it. If you're going to call it Linux, I have to approve it. He kept the copyright, but he said anybody can contribute. And this was in the 90s when the internet was just getting started. A lot of people started working on it. And so there's the Linux kernel, which Linus is in charge of, and a bunch of other people. He keeps that, official. And then on top of that, there's installers, applications, what they call a desktop environment. All of that can be added later by other people. And those are different, we call them technically distributions, but you could say flavors of Linux. So my favorite distribution, in fact, the one I'd recommend to you, is called Manjaro, manjaro.org. Nice thing, these are all free, so you can try them and so forth. Manjaro is a more technical Linux, which is good for you because you're obviously very technical. And I think you'll like it a lot. You choose, when you go to manjaro.org, you'll see different desktop environments. I use GNOME, but there's others like KDE. And is it an older computer?
I think it's yeah.
Then try the first one that comes up, which is XFCE. That's the desktop environment. But you'll download something, you'll put it on a USB key, you'll boot to that from the PC, and then it'll run the installer. And you can decide if you want a dual boot, or if it's an older machine and you don't mind wiping out Windows, then just wipe out Windows and start over.
Yes. Thank you.
Nathan, thank you. Stay in touch. I'd love to hear how it goes for you.
Okay.
All right. So nobody in your family is geeky like you?
My brother likes stuff. He doesn't like to code, but he likes learning about iOS.
So maybe he'll work with you because it's nice to have a partner.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, let's do this. Let's. What do you think if we put Linux on this old machine? See if he's interested. And then you know what? When I was your age, it helped if I had a little competition, right? Somebody else who's challenging me. So maybe he'll challenge you. Is he younger or older?
We're twins. We're identical twins.
Oh, that's cool. How's that? Is that wild?
Fun.
Yeah.
That we don't look alike, but other people think that we look alike.
Yeah, but you can tell the difference. Sure. Nathan, a pleasure to talk to you. Stay in touch, okay?
Okay.
Really great to talk to you. Keep up the good work. Ooh, I want to talk about Stamps.com. No, I love the post office. I have a post office box, and I kind of like the people who work at the post office. Some of them are my friends, but I have to say, now is not the time, probably for a lot of us, to spend time at the post office. But there is a way you can do everything you would do at the post office without leaving home, without leaving your desk. It's called Stamps.com. One thing we learned in 2020, the internet's pretty cool, pretty good thing. Get your groceries online, your movies online, do your doctor visits online, and of course, go to the post office online with Stamps.com. We've been using Stamps.com for, I think, a decade now. We're big fans at TWiT. Stamps.com can print official U.S. postage right from your computer, your printer. It'll print right on the envelope, your logo, your return address. It'll automatically get the address you're sending to from your address book. Or if you sell on Amazon or eBay or Etsy, it'll actually fill it in from those sites. It'll fill out all the paperwork automatically for you, like priority mail or return receipt requested, things like that. Stamps.com gives you all the services of the post office. And now, that's good enough, right? Now, they also give you all the services of UPS right on your computer. And you get huge discounts on mailing and shipping rates. Stamps.com is the way to send U.S. mail and now UPS as well. Use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7. If it's a package, they've got a USB scale. You put it on there. It'll print a mailing label out for you anywhere you want to send it. And once your mail is ready, post office comes to you, right? Mail carrier comes to you, picks it up. With Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first-class stamp. Why wouldn't you use this? 40% off priority mail, up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Not to mention, it's a fraction of the cost of a postage meter. I'm not talking a postage meter. That's nuts. Stamps.com really is a no-brainer. It'll save you time. It'll save you money. That's probably why over 900,000 small businesses, including mine, use Stamps.com. What are you waiting for? Make 2021 the year you stop wasting time going to the post office. It's kind of a good excuse. Now's a good time. And then I bet you keep using it after that because you save so much. Go to Stamps.com. There's no risk. We got a great deal for you. Click the microphone. It's up in the right-hand corner. There's a old-timey radio microphone. Click that and use the promo code TWiT. That's our special promo code. Lets them know you saw it here on the Tech Guy. And you'll get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, a free digital scale, no long-term commitments, no contracts. Stamps.com. Click the microphone at the top of the homepage. Type in TWiT. You've probably heard me talk about this before. Now's the time. Stamps.com. Save yourself time and money and a trip to the post office. I might go by to say hi, just, see how they're all doing. I haven't checked my post office box since March. Oops. They're going to have a big, big box for me. Stamps.com. And don't forget that promo code TWiT. Thank you, Stamps, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the hipster himself. What is hip? Scott Wilkinson is hip, our home theater geek, contributor at TechHive.com. All right, every year at this time we do it. Take a look at your pedometer. How many miles have you walked at CES this year?
Let's see. Looking at my pedometer right now, I'd say 0.26.
Not a lot of walking this year.
Not a lot of walking this year. No, it was all online. It was virtual. I have to say there are certain things I really liked about it, and there were certain things I didn't. Of course, I miss seeing my friends.
Yeah.
In person, and I miss.
My gosh, we hung out last year. It was so much fun.
Yeah, exactly, like you, for example.
Yeah.
And I missed going out to nice dinners, and I usually took in at least one show, and unlike most of my colleagues, I actually like visiting Vegas. It's fun.
I love it. Lisa and I thought about moving there for a while.
Yeah. So, and they're great restaurants, great dinners and stuff.
Great shows.
But I do not miss being at the end of South Hall and having to hoof it to the Westgate parking lot to grab my car, to go to the Bellagio, to hoof it another half hour to get to another
crazy.
press event.
180,000 people, 4,500 booths, acres and acres, miles and miles. You did what, 23 miles last year on your pedometer?
26.
26. That's a marathon.
26 miles on my pedometer.
You did a marathon over a period of a week, but still, that's a lot of walking.
So. Yeah, exactly. Now, what I really liked about the online experience was you didn't have to do any of that, of course. But in many cases, you could go into a site that either one of these outlier shows like TechFluence or Pepcom, and you see a list of all the companies there, and you could filter them. You could say, I only want to see the audio companies, which is what I did. And then the list became manageable. You click on one of them, you go into a landing page, you can just click and get the press release.
Oh, that's nice.
You can click and go into a video chat with the people in the company.
Oh, so you still get the chance to ask questions in real time and get briefings.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They had a little video in each landing page for each company explaining kind of what they were showing. So it was very efficient, and I liked that. So and the other thing is because I wasn't racing around all day, I actually had a chance to write a bunch of news stories.
Right.
which all came up on TechHive.com, which is where I'm writing mostly these days, and so I was able to write a bunch of news stories without, losing sleep, which I normally would do. You normally only get a few hours of sleep every night, but
here's the problem: you're reviewing video and audio products, but you can't see them or hear them in. So
That is a draw. Yep,
that's a challenge, right? I mean, you can see it, but you're seeing it in a stream, so you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really know what it looks like, and you can't hear an audio product for anything. So, yes, that is one of the disadvantages. There's no question about it.
So, what did you like? I see your colleagues at Tech Hive liked the Clear Crescent Smart Speaker. Did you?
That was one of mine, actually.
Okay.
It looks very interesting. I should be getting one for review next month.
It looks like a little crescent moon.
Looks like a little crescent moon, but it looks like it's got some pretty nice tech in it with what's called beam forming, which sends beams of audio in different directions to give you a simulated wide stereo effect or a 3D effect. It has several settings. So that looks really, really interesting. Another one that I thought was really interesting.
By the way, $700 before you get your hopes up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's that one's expensive.
Yeah.
Another one I found really interesting is a company called Noopl, Noopl.
All the good names were taken.com.
All the good names, I know.
Noopl.
Anyway, this is a little gizmo you plug into your iPhone, and it has three little microphones, and it also uses a form of beam forming where you can basically, if you're in a noisy environment like a restaurant or a bar, it will, and you're wearing a pair of earbuds or headphones, it will zero in the direction that you want it to go.
Oh, that's cool.
And focus, you'll hear more of the sound in that direction and less of the sound from other directions.
Now, that could be used in conjunction with AirPods to kind of give you almost a hearing aid.
In fact, if you use it with AirPod Pro, it makes use of head tracking. And it will track your head as you move your head and focus the sound that you're hearing in the direction that you're looking.
That's really
very cool.
Is it mostly intended for like Zoom calls and things like that, or
no? It's intended for when we go back to restaurants and bars.
Yes,
which we can't go to right now. So, but it really is intended for you. It'd be great at CES, for example.
So it is kind of in a way a hearing aid, not necessarily for the hard of hearing, but that's really
correct. That's exactly right. But any of us in a loud environment with sound coming from all around, a bar, restaurant, a party, it's often difficult, even those with normal hearing, to hear the conversation that you're trying to have with the person in front of you. And this thing will really help that out quite a bit. Not only that, it has an algorithm that detects whether or not you're holding the phone or it's on a table, because the acoustic characteristics are different. If it's on a table, it's got reflections coming from the table. And if it's in free space, then it's different. So it automatically calculates all of that. I'm very interested to check this one out.
Yeah, Noopl, Noopl, no E.
Yep. Yep, exactly right. So I thought that was very interesting.
One of the things that happened this year was that hearing aids went over the counter. So I thought we might start seeing a lot of hearing aid kind of technologies at a consumer price point.
This is an example of that.
Yeah. They don't want to call them a hearing aid because that's stigmatized, but that's it's a hearing assistant is what they call it.
It's a hearing assistant. Yeah, exactly right. And there are hearing over the counter hearing aid companies that we didn't hear much about at CES, but we are going to hear a lot about. There's no question.
Yeah, that's coming.
No question about it.
Yep.
That is coming for sure, and with good technology too.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
What else did you see? Did you see any good TV? It's kind of silly even to say this. Did you see any good TVs?
Yeah. Well, the general trends in TVs, really quick, are bigger. We've got OLEDs now up to 83 inches. We've got a number of other companies offering relatively inexpensive 85 inches.
Wow.
In fact, CNET says 85 is the new 75.
Wow. That's big.
It's really big. Yeah, exactly. More advanced artificial intelligence, AI video processing. We've talked a lot on the show the last couple of weeks about mini LED and micro LED. There's a lot of that going on.
Yep.
More 8K models from LG, Samsung, Sony, and TCL. So bigger, brighter, and more resolution. You know, it wasn't so much revolutionary this year as evolutionary. LG announced the Evo OLED panel, and brighter OLEDs is another thing. Sony and LG also announced brighter OLEDs, which was its one drawback against LCD. They weren't as bright. They're still not as bright, but they're brighter than they were. So that's coming right
I've
along.
decided that I'm happy with my TV. And I'm going to I don't need 8K because no one's broadcasting 8K or streaming it.
Correct.
But I am going to wait for micro LED, which is right now very expensive. But once they get the kinks worked out and they get the prices down, so maybe a few years from now, that'll be my next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hisense is still hawking laser TV, which you have one as well.
I love mine. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll be watching football on that this weekend. That's for sure. Scott Wilkinson, he's our home theater geek. You can read all about his CES at techhive.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Nice. I shall give you the floor, Mr. W.
Thank you so very much.
And
really
you got
appreciate it.
and you want to stick around to the top as well?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Happy to. Hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. I must admit, another thing I didn't mention about CES was not getting the CES crud, or this year even worse, coronavirus, which is why we didn't go. But, you know, most years, many years, not all years, but many years that I go to CES, I come back and I get the crud. So happy not to have gone to CES to get that for sure. Twisted Mister, 4K HDR on OLED is gorgeous. Couldn't agree more. That is absolutely correct. Just wish there was something to watch. Well, you know, I would have to say I have been enjoying a few things.
A lot of stuff. And Netflix is 4K. I'm watching The Expanse in 4K on Amazon Prime.
Oh, man, that must look awesome.
It's beautiful. Yeah. They just started posting, and I haven't started watching it yet, but I really am looking forward to WandaVision. That looks. Is that a
show?
series or a movie?
It's a series.
Yeah.
It's a series.
I love
from
the
Marvel universe.
Yeah, it's a Watchmen thing. Yeah.
No, it's from the Marvel universe.
Oh.
You might not be so interested.
But I hate comic book stuff. But the blue guy I thought was from the Watchmen. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm not a comic book guy.
No, you're not a comic book guy. But this looks very interesting, very funny, not your typical comic book movie. It's basically Vision, Paul Bettany, who's one of my favorite actors in the Marvel Universe, playing Vision, and his wife, Wanda, whose superhero name I can't remember at the moment. But anyway, they're a married couple in 50s America. I mean, it just looks really funny. So I'm looking forward to that. Retcon 5. What about swag loss? Yeah, you know, there was no swag this year, obviously, and although actually that may not be true. If you gave your address to one of those outlying shows, they were going to send you a swag bag. I don't remember if I gave them my address or not, because to tell you the truth, I'm kind of over swag. I used to be a real swag collector. Tell you the truth, I used to be a real swag collector, but it piled up so high, and now I'm taking most of it to the thrift store because it's just not worth it.
I don't need another foam rubber squeezy toy.
Exactly.
I could do with
exactly. That. So I don't miss swag anymore.
Swag was always overrated, and I guess in the early
except
days,
for T-shirts.
They might have. I have too many of those too.
Well, I do too, but that's all I wear.
It's your wardrobe.
I don't wear anything else.
I get my wardrobe at CES every year.
Exactly. Dr. Mom Grandma says, yeah, be glad you missed the mass gathering this year. Yeah, this year especially.
Oh, yeah.
For dang sure.
We dodged a bullet last year. So COVID was there.
We did.
But it wasn't. Yes, it didn't spread too widely, fortunately.
Well, we didn't get it. I mean, I was shaking hands and stuff.
No, and I know some people, I did have contact with some people who did get it. So
really,
I felt very lucky. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, at CES, I've trained myself many, many years ago to wash my hands often.
Right. Yeah, I did that like crazy in January because I didn't want to get sick at all. Little did I know I was fighting the vid. All right, Scott. See you in the top, okay?
You bet. Mm-hmm.
He walked 26 miles, but I'll take that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Professor Laura, I got the joke. Well, I would walk 500 miles just to see the new TV. Jimmy on the line from Santa Barbara, California. Hello, Jimmy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Are you burning up in Santa Barbara?
Oh, it is very hot winter here. I tell you, the last few days. And,
So weird.
Hey, I can't complain, but I broke out in a sweat yesterday. I said, what's this?
What is going on? So, what can I do for you, sir?
Well, this morning I woke up and I had 10 text messages, and they all said, "Stop it, stop calling me."
Oh,
I didn't call or text any of them.
Oh,
I didn't understand. So I automatically assumed I'd heard of this. I get, phone numbers get spoofed.
Yep. It's called neighbor spoofing. Yep.
Apparently my number got spoofed.
So we've all gotten those calls, right? Your auto warranty's running out. That's the big one, isn't it?
There's all kinds.
There's all kinds. And they always have a phone number.
I hang up, and then I like that my cell service, it says scam likely, and so I don't even think, I decline the call.
Yeah.
But so now I'm on the other end of this. I'm the one, they're spoofing my number and calling other people.
Right. They'll move on because what happens is people are going to block it, and so they're always changing it. So it's actually illegal. It's called neighbor spam, and the reason they do it is you're more likely to pick up a phone call that comes from your area code and even often your exchange, the first 6 digits of your 10-digit phone number. You might think, well, that's got to be a neighbor, a school, the doctor. It's got to be somebody I know. It's my neighborhood. It's not. It's a spammer. It's unfortunately the way the phone system is set up, very much kind of related to the way the email system is set up. They never considered the fact that it might be misused like this. So there was never a system in place to say, no, you can't use a phony number. It's trivially easy, and spammers do it all the time. Now, it is illegal, but the problem is they're not in the U.S., so it's hard to prosecute them. The FCC in the last couple of years has done more to go after these robocallers, and if they're in the U.S., they're facing jail time and serious penalties. So that's good. And a few of them have been. They got one robocaller was responsible for some millions of calls a day. But the ones that, you're getting or you're actually other people are getting. Now, it's sad because you know better than to say, text somebody and say, stop spamming me, as if that's their number. You know better than that. You don't do that. So these people they're not ignorant. They're just not, they're not worldly wise. They get junk messages. By the way, texting is the new robocalling. Have you noticed? Lots of junk text messages all of a sudden. Don't respond to those folks. That's not that person's number any more than you would respond to spam email. You don't hit reply when you get a spam saying, I don't want any Viagra, go away. That just says to the guy, we got a live one here. It means you'll get more spam. And the person whose email or phone number they're using, they're spoofing, is going to be bombarded. But that's the good news, Jimmy, is they're not going to keep using that because, of course, the reason they use phony numbers is to trick the recipients and to bypass blocking. So the reason you see scam likely is because that phone number has been entered into the scam likely database. So they're not going to keep using any number for very long. They know, they've got to keep moving. Just like spammers never use the same email address for very long. So public service announcement, if you get a text from Jimmy, and I'm putting that in quotes, Jimmy, or you get an email from, quote, Jimmy, don't respond to it. It's not him. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do. The FCC did attempt to kind of solve this with an authentication system they call Stir and Shaken. They're encouraging, and I think most of the big phone companies are going to go along with this. They're encouraging them to use that. That authenticates that number really came from the originating system, and that's good. That means spoofing won't be possible, except bad guys never did use Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, or AT&T. They always used, Dave's cellular service out of Barbados, and unless every single originating carrier uses Stir and Shaken, it's meaningless. FCC is saying, well, we're going to go after these little guys who are allowing spam, just as in the email spam world, we've gone after email servers that allow spam through, but I have to be honest, here we are 10 years down the road trying to kill spam, and it's worse than ever. You don't see it because spam filters have gotten good. I think we're going to have text spam filters eventually. I know exactly why this is happening, and I don't know what happened, but around the beginning of the year, maybe late December, I started getting a lot of text spam. I think that they realized nobody's answering the phone anymore. If you do you answer the phone if you don't recognize the number? No, I don't. So they're choosing other methods, which is kind of too bad. But spammers are evil. I think we know that by now, right? Hey, great question, Jimmy. There's nothing you can do about it, but good news, it'll go away. Probably sooner than later. Mike, Rancho Mirage, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Leo. I was hoping you could give me a recommendation for a mid-price Chromebook, preferably with a touchscreen.
Yes. So mid-price to you is what?
Well, I don't know, a few $100.
Yeah. So mid-price to me is $500. Okay. So there are a lot of Chromebooks in the $200 to $300 range. Those are what I call kind of the low end. It really depends on the way they save money on those. They use less good screens. The trackpads, keypad are not as good, but those are for some people not an issue. When you get to $500, that's when you're really talking the best Chromebooks. That might be a little bit outside of your budget, but Acer, ACER, makes Chromebooks in both the $250 range to the even up above $1,000. And the difference in price really is the difference in the quality and the components. Most of them are touchscreen now. But again, if you go down to $200, you might not get a touchscreen. Usually what you give up is the processor, the memory, the screen quality, and size, and that kind of thing. But I would look at Acer's Chromebooks because I think they make an aluminum one that's stunning. And it's
for a gift.
And nice.
Light use, like web surfing and email and that kind of stuff would be the main deal.
It's a great gift. I would look at my favorite is the Chromebook Spin from Acer, ACER, and they start around $279.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And the best place to go on Amazon and search for Chromebooks. They'll show you the best-selling ones. There's quite a few choices. And really, all Chromebooks are similar, so you're really choosing based on quality. Samsung makes some excellent Chromebooks as well, but I like the Chromebook Spin. Actually, that's their best seller on Amazon, $269. That would be a very nice gift.
Oh, great. And I have one other question, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, sure.
I have a MacBook Pro, semi-ancient at this point, 5 years old, and I use a mouse, wireless mouse, and all of a sudden it's just acting really jiggy, and I can't figure out what the deal is. The cursor won't go where I want it to, and it bounces around just before I press the button on it.
There's a couple of things. You stopped using the track. Oh, actually, hold on. I got to take a break. We're going to go to the news at the top of the hour. So hang on. I'll talk to you off the air. We can get this fixed probably. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls coming up right after this. Did you stop using the trackpad because it wasn't working right?
I hate trackpads. I'm just not comfortable with them.
Oh, okay.
Always used the mouse since the beginning of time. So
yeah. And do you use it closed, or do you use it open and you just have a mouse attached to it? You don't use it external monitor. You can use external monitor, but you're not doing that. You're using the laptop.
No, it's just a regular laptop with a little USB thing plugged in and a cheap Logitech mouse.
Oh, it's a wireless.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a few possibilities. I know you hate the trackpad, but see if the same thing is happening with the trackpad. If it's not, then it's a mouse. New batteries probably would help. Or maybe the mouse is worn out. I don't think it's the computer. If the trackpad does it too, then the next step is to reinstall the operating system. Wipe the drive and reinstall it. It's pretty old. How old?
It's 2015.
Oh, that's not that old. In fact, those until they finally got rid of the butterfly keyboard, those were the last good MacBooks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I kept my 2015 for years because I didn't want to use that horrible butterfly keyboard.
So, I didn't check. I think the trackpad maybe works better.
Yeah. Then that means that the mouse and these, wireless could have interference. Try getting a wired mouse. They're $5. Plug it in. See if it works all right.
Do you think just replacing the wireless or going to a more expensive one? I always just get the cheapest Logitech, and they've always been.
Oh, they're great. No, I have no trouble with them. But, there may be interference, or it's broken, or it's, it just sounds like the mouse is having trouble. So, do you have a wired mouse lying around, just plug it in and see what happens.
Okay. And if the trackpad one does the same thing, then
I would wipe the drive and reinstall, or even upgrade the operating system. Because then it could be a software issue.
Upgrade means what? I mean, it's always up to date.
Okay, good. Then it's a simple thing to start. You wipe the drive and start over. Usually, this does not happen most of the time. So I'm going to guess it's the mouse itself.
All right. Well, I'll just try. I'll try.
Try another mouse on it.
Mouse.
Yeah.
So as far as the MacBook goes, the Chromebook, for light use and all that.
Oh, yeah.
What am I looking at for a processor, the speed and all that?
The one I just recommended to you is a Celeron. So it's not it's a cheap Intel processor, but that's fine.
Right.
It's not, you're not doing anything demanding. It's fine. That's a nice gift.
Right.
That's a very nice gift.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that person will be very happy because it's much more secure and reliable.
Maybe I'll find that I prefer that.
You might like it yourself. That might be a good upgrade for the MacBook.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate the input.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks
My pleasure.
much.
Take care. All right. Sorry to use up some of your time there, Scotty.
Hey, no problem.
All yours.
Thank you. I see a note here from Tokyo Jim. I went to CES 1984 and stayed at the Circus for $17 a night.
Wow.
That's before my time. I didn't start going to CES till 1990, I believe, or 91. And I'm sure I would never stay at the Circus.
I stayed there once.
Because
it's one of those places where they bolt the lamp and even the remote control down because they're afraid you're going to steal it.
Yeah. However, I did once go to the steakhouse at Circus, which was actually excellent. Not that I eat steak, I don't. But steakhouses always have good seafood as well. And that steakhouse was really good. And the people who did eat the steak say, wow, that was a great steak. So they do have at least one redeeming value there. So anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to say on my segment. Maybe I'll save this till next week. There were a couple of interesting TV announcements. I'll mention them here, and maybe Leo, if you're listening, if you want to do this next week, that'd be great.
Sure.
One is Samsung announced a full calibration app for smartphones, for their Galaxy primarily, but also on iPhone. You could do a full TV calibration from your phone because the camera on smartphones is getting so good that you can actually do that.
Wow.
Easy cal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. So full calibration using a smartphone camera. And it adjusts to ambient lighting, too. So you can do a separate calibration for dark conditions and light conditions when you have ambient light. So that is super cool, I think. Samsung also announced something called HDR10 Plus Adaptive, quite a mouthful, which is basically HDR content that automatically adjusts based on ambient lighting. Now, you have to have a sensor in your TV for that to work. It's similar to Dolby Vision IQ, which does the same thing, which came out of, you remember that that episode of, what was it, Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Where it was so dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody was like complaining, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you had calibrated, and I bet most of the people who were complaining were in a room with some ambient light.
I think I watched it on a 4K in darkened room, but it
in the dark, and it was still too dark.
Yeah, it was shot dark, and the problem was the encoding from HBO was so bad that
okay. So then calibration wouldn't have helped that.
No,
it clipped the blacks. Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
I'm hopeful that the Blu-ray. I'm not going to buy it, but the Blu-ray DVD would be, better. But remember, they're streaming. They're streaming that, and I think a lot of people it was clipped.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Anyway.
Yeah. The other announcement that I didn't get to talk about today was Next Gen TV, ATSC 3.0, the next generation of broadcast TV, which integrates over-the-air and over-the-top, OTT. And they're now in 21 markets, 86 TV stations, 20% of the U.S. households can now get it. LG 2021 TVs have ATSC 3.0 tuners in them. And there's now a set-top box with an ATSC 3.0 tuner in it. Should be available next quarter for $250. Now, that may seem like a lot, but when you think about the original HD, when we transitioned from analog to digital, those set-top box were first, I think, Mike Heiss, you can help me with this, but I'm pretty sure they were more like in the $1,000 range. So that's really pretty good. Anyway, those are a couple things I didn't get to on the segment today. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, or maybe not. Beatmaster's asking me and Mike, actually, Mike Heiss, what's your personal guess on how current generation AVRs with the HDMI 2.1 chip issues will handle the problem? Marantz and Onkyo replacing the hardware? It's a good question, and I don't really know. This is a problem with rushing not quite baked stuff to market. There you go.
Thank you, Scott. Talk to you next week.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
You bet.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We talk smartphones. We talk smartwatches. We'll talk travel in 20 minutes with Johnny Jett, our travel guy. Travel's starting to come back. I'm sure Johnny's very relieved. If you want to talk about tech with me, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. A website, techguylabs.com. That's if you hear something and you go, what's Iowa? What's the link for that? We put the links for everything. James DeRuvo does, our official scribe, up at the website, techguylabs.com. And the good news is that's free. That's free. No sign up, no nothing, no gatekeeping. Just head on over there. There's a pretty good search. This is episode 1762 in a continuing series. Freddie on the line from Yonkers. Hi, Freddie.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I enjoy your show, and I have a question.
Sure.
I wonder if you would recommend smartwatch that measures like blood pressure. I've seen them from 40 to like 400. I was a little confused as to which one to try to get.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate any of these are. And I use an Apple Watch, which does not measure blood pressure. Apple does so many other things. But there are a number of so-called blood pressure watches, including the Samsung Galaxy Watch, that does not, they tease that does blood pressure, but they're waiting for FDA approval, and that should be a little bit of a red flag for you. The fact that FDA has not approved it yet for the Samsung and that Apple hasn't even attempted it, I think gives you some indication that it's probably not that reliable. You know, when you're getting getting your blood pressure taken, you know, you could buy these at home, or you go to the doctor's office and they put something called a sphygmomanometer on your. That's that thing where they pump it up and it's like gripping your arm, and then it releases it over time. And they've got a little, stopwatch in their hand, and they've got a little, they're watching, and that's how they do the blood pressure. Actually, nowadays is all pretty automatic. I have a home blood pressure monitor. Omron makes them. A lot of companies do that aren't too expensive, and I think that's a cuff is a better way to do it. I don't think that the problem is the watches. What they're trying to do, is obviously they can't squeeze your arm periodically, or you'd go, I'm not wearing that anymore. So they can't do that. The way they work, and if you look at the bottom of any of these smartwatches, including the Apple smartwatches, they fire light, usually green light, at your skin, and they can use the response back from the green light. They have a receiver as well to monitor the flow of blood. I'm not convinced that anything on your wrist can do that. If something could, it would be also from Omron, but I don't know if you've looked at the Omron device. It is FDA cleared, but it looks like you're wearing a pretty large device on your wrist. It's not a watch. It's just it looks like a cuff, to be honest with you. And I'm suspecting, in fact it does. It still goes and it squeezes you and then it releases. So I'm not convinced. I think is it just for your own interest that you're doing this, or has a doctor said you need to monitor your blood pressure?
For my own interest.
Okay. So as long as you understand that there may be some accuracy issues with it, one way to do that would be to get a $60 cuff and compare the results of that with the results from your watch and see how close it is. You might even get a sense of, it's off, but it's off by this much always. And if that's the case, then I guess it would be kind of useful. You could say, well, there are a number of them. Says when Samsung gets its approval, that would be my first choice, because I like the Samsung Galaxy watches. That's their own operating system. The rest of them, I think, are mostly Android wear. And my concern is, I never heard of Yame or MorePro, Half Sun, Blue Melody, Peak Fun, DFG, Do Smarter. I think there's a reason that I've never heard of these. Those are the top blood pressure monitor watches. I just think they're not that accurate. If you can find one that is FDA approved, okay. But even Apple, which has started to add blood oxygen monitoring to its smartwatch, even that people have been complaining that it's not that good. Apple has been promising to add blood pressure. If they do, that will be the watch. There are devices you can add to your Apple Watch that will let you, Omron has these cuffs and so forth. I don't recommend the cardio app. The cardio blood pressure monitor. That is, I've used it. It's not very accurate. I think, to be honest with you, Omron is the company. They're the best known company in blood pressure monitoring. They make sphygmomanometers. Lots of doctors' offices use them, and I think that those are probably going to be more reliable. When Omron does one, or the FDA approves one that's in a watch, okay, then I'll believe it. There's a couple of things that are the holy grail for smartwatches. Apple's realized that the smartwatch is really a health device. When it first came out, the Apple Watch did a whole bunch of things, and they sold it. It's a sidecar for your phone. You can make phone calls. There's a walkie-talkie. It does notifications. But I think over time, what they've realized is, what people really value is the health stuff, the monitoring your fitness and activity, the things like the heart rate monitoring, which it can do quite accurately. It can also monitor blood oxygen, although the jury's out on how accurate that is. But both of those can use that light shining into your arm technique. I don't know of any way to do it with blood pressure. So the two holy grails of smartwatches everybody's working on, no one, in my opinion, has succeeded with yet, is blood pressure and blood sugar. There is still, to this date, there is no non-intrusive blood sugar monitoring. There are, can't remember the number, but many millions of type 2 diabetics in the United States, and type 1 as well, who would greatly value, it would be a huge market, the ability to monitor blood glucose without a finger stick or attaching a monitor to your hip or anything like that. And Apple has talked about it for years. They still can't do it. They still can't do it. So, the green light is for O2 saturation. And Dr. Mom is in our chat room. Do you know of any way to do a accurate blood pressure in a watch, Dr. Mom? I don't think such a thing exists. And I'd hate for you to go out and buy a device that just really gave you information that wasn't useful. That's one of the reasons FDA approval is so important. They're not going to approve a device unless they feel like it's they feel like it's fairly accurate. So 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Maybe you know of something that can help. You can help Freddie out. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll stand right by you here. I'm by your side. Robert on the line from Walnut Creek, California. Hello, Robert.
Leo, actually, it's Walnut, California, not Walnut.
Oh, I added a creek. Walnut. Pardon me.
Yes. We're near Diamond Bar, West Covina, in that area.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Good to talk to you. What can I do for you?
Okay. I have a Dell Inspiron. It's only about 6 months old. I'm on the current version of Windows 10.
Okay.
And I don't remember which Windows update it started happening, but my restore point keeps getting deleted.
Yeah.
Now I've got to turn on system protection. I also have 30% of my C drive allocated for the restore point file, but for some reason it keeps getting deleted. I've looked on the web and it talks about making sure that the system protection is turned on. You have adequate disk space allocated. Do you know how to resolve this issue?
Yeah.
Or are you aware of the issue and how to resolve it?
I am aware of it. Microsoft deprecated System Restore in Windows 10. They still have it, and you can still use it, but I think you have to re-enable it. I'm trying to find an article that has the information. I have always disliked System Restore. I always felt like it just never worked when I needed it to most. And so I haven't missed it because I never trusted it. But if you really like it, you can I'm pretty sure you can re-enable it. If you hit the Windows key and you type restore, I'm pretty sure you can re-enable it. I think, create a restore point.
And it's turn on system. And if you do configuration, I have turn on system protection enabled, which is supposed to periodically create a restore point.
Right.
But
they changed how that worked in Windows 10, and that's one of the reasons when you hit that, you get that old style control panel instead of the new one. So turn on system protection. So you've done all that, and it's still deleting those.
And what I do is when I check for the existence of the restore file and it does not exist, I create one manually. But then that gets subsequently deleted also.
Yeah. Here's this is from 5 years ago, but somebody in the chat room has posted a link. My system restore points are being deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's 5 years ago. I You've got plenty of space on the hard drive. You've re-enabled it. I wonder, maybe Microsoft has decided they're not going to support it anymore. I remember hearing that it had been deprecated. So I wonder if that's related. We've got a couple of links people are putting in the chat room. Let's see if this one's from The Verge from May of last year. And maybe it talks about it. Yeah, it sounds like you've set it all up. That was the big change, is it's just not on by default. And since you've gone through it and set it up again, I don't know why it's deleting it. That seems wrong. One thing, minor warning here. It was a common behavior in malware to delete those system restore points or to modify them. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Because obviously, if you've got malware on your system, the last thing they want you to do is to restore and remove the malware.
Right.
So
I run Norton.
Okay.
I run MSRT every Friday.
Good man. Good man.
And nothing has shown up.
All right. So you're probably all right. Make sure Norton's not getting involved. One of the reasons I often tell people not to run security software is you get weird side effects like, maybe your restore points get deleted, things like that. Norton might have decided, because malware infests restore points, we're just going to delete those. That's one of the problems I have, especially with Norton. Norton's very aggressive in how it protects you. So make sure, I would go through the Norton documentation, make sure that isn't touching your restore points. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Okay, I'll check your
couple
website.
of things. Yeah, a couple of things to look at though. Go through your settings. Make sure that everything's set properly. I would take a look at Norton. Make sure it's not erasing it. That kind of thing. Sometimes if you get sometimes just an antivirus alone, if you're going to use an antivirus, is better than the big protection packages because they add a whole bunch of stuff. And my problem always is it slows your system down. It often gives kind of unpredictable results, that kind of thing. That's why, when as soon as you say the word Norton, I go, uh-oh. Ralph in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ralph.
Hey, how are you, Leo?
I'm well.
Good. Hey, I had a question. Is it legal or to maybe start a business or provide a service to clone RFID tags, the ones that you use to get into your apartment and or office buildings?
That's interesting.
A lot of building managements charge $200.
I know, it's ridiculous.
So easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's illegal. I would ask your local locksmith. Locksmiths have to be licensed for that very reason. You don't want them making. You don't want some shady fella making key duplicates. Tokyo Jim in our chat room says his local Ace Hardware will do it for $15. So maybe it is legal. I would ask if you've got a locksmith in town, and I know you do, call him up and say, hey, can you duplicate these? And see what he says. Because they are licensed to do that kind of thing, and they'll let you know whether it's legal or not. I don't know if it's legal or not. And you're right. $200 is outrageous. That's not how much it costs them to make them. That's to penalize you, because too many people lose those. Colleges do the same thing. If your first one, you can lose one once, and then it's $200 after that. It's not because it costs them that much. Check with your local Ace Hardware. Maybe they do it for $15. I agree. That's outrageous. And I would guess that you'd have to be it's a similar kind of rule as with the locksmith. But I don't know. For the RFID keys, look for kiosks named key.me. And Mike326 in our chat room says the ones near him can clone key cards as well. So it could be a good business, Ralph. It's true that those RFID programmers are not expensive. Easy to find, easy to get. Fascinating. 8888 ask Leo. If somebody knows, you got a locksmith. I'm sure there's locksmiths listening. Hey, locksmiths, call us. Are there any restrictions on cloning those key cards at colleges and apartment complexes use and hotels use to let people in. TechGuyLabs.com, another place you could leave a comment there. You do have to, there's no sign up for Tech Guy Labs. It's free, but we do, just to slow down spam, we do ask people to sign in. You can use your Twitter or Facebook or Google or whatever account it's just to slow down spammers. 8888 Ask Leo. Johnny Jet coming up. We're going to talk travel right after this. I've been everywhere, man. Fortunately, he has, but he's not traveling a lot these days. It's time for Johnny Jet on the Tech Guy Show. Johnny's our tech travel guru. Travel like a rock star using technology. You can read more at johnnyjet.com. His website, his newsletters at johnnyjet.com/newsletter. There are many of them, and they're all free. He joins us every week to talk about travel. Is travel back, Johnny?
It's getting there. There's a huge week of news. I mean, it seems like every week there's big travel news. But number one, the big story was that the CDC has now made a requirement for any traveler coming to the U.S., if you're a citizen or not, that you need to be tested at least 3 days before and have a negative test.
Wait a minute.
So that puts a huge...
Wait a minute. You can't... Oh, because it takes 3 days to get the test? No, I don't understand why they would say 3 days before, because that means...
I know.
That's 3 days you could get sick.
I agree. I agree with that. It's ridiculous, but it's better than nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what a lot of destinations have been offering. Like Hawaii's been doing it, and Hawaii's been doing a good job. But the thing is, this is going to throw a big wrench.
We need fast tests is what we need. That's what we need.
Rapid, accurate testing, and they need to do it at the airport, and I think that will be the future. But so what this means, if you're going to a destination, you first of all most likely have to get tested before you leave the U.S., and then when you come back, you have to figure out where to get tested, how much it's going to cost. If you're a family, I think international travel is going to take a hit because of this, unless more and more airports start doing rapid testing. I know Heathrow does, but it's going to be a problem. And actually, just now, I was just looking at Twitter. It shows that because they're doing this testing in Australia as well. I mean, on Australia, you have to test on arrival as well, and they quarantine you. You have to be in a government hotel. They took over these really nice hotels, and they're just government mandated. And the Australian Open's going on, or about to take place. So all the players flew down, and 50 players are now unable to train for 2 weeks because they were on flights with infected people. And the only reason why they know that is because they tested on arrival. So it just shows you, how contagious this virus is. And
what's your chance if somebody on the plane is infected? You're not guaranteed to get it, because they have good scrubbing and the air filtration and all that. But if you're sitting near them, is that the issue?
It could be near them. We could in line on getting onto the airplane or in the airport. The thing is, I was just speaking to my buddy in Australia 2 days ago, and he says we only have 100 cases. I mean, so when you land in Australia, literally, you're in a hotel for I think 2 weeks. You can't leave the room.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to let the tennis players go train because they're bringing a lot of money in, which is kind of ridiculous. But now you have to wear a mask in Australia, which you didn't have to before.
Well, about time it's going to be that way in the U.S.
South America, South Africa.
So there was an article yesterday in the USA Today that said, well, even though in the U.S. we don't release this information, in Canada they do about COVID-19 exposure on flights, and in Canada, it's basically almost every day that one flight or another has somebody on it with COVID-19. So I don't know if it's the same in the U.S.
I know all the airlines like to tell you that it's safe to fly, and they do have incredible HEPA filters. But if you're sitting next to someone, it's not going to matter. And if they're not wearing a mask, so that's why I have not flown since February.
Yeah.
And they're in Canada, by the way, they put this rule in effect a week or two ago, and they had to leave so many people behind, and especially in the islands in the Caribbean, because they couldn't get tested fast enough. And what happens if you do test negative? If you do test positive, they're not going to let you on the plane. You're going to have to pay to quarantine for however long it takes. So you're going to see a lot of domestic travel this year. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
But
if I travel, it's going to be the
U.S.
Back, at least for the first.
But it's going to be mostly U.S.
Yeah. No, I think I'll be doing
especially with this new rule.
And we might be driving.
Also,
flying.
Yeah. And also, I think airfares are going to go up. Norwegian Air Shuttle. Have you heard of Norwegian Air?
Mm-hmm.
They just
were they a low price? Were they
long haul flights?
They were one of those low price guys, or no? Norwegian.
Yeah, they were a low cost carrier, and they brought airfares down. You could go fly across the pond. New York,
$10,
even LA. I saw fares $99 each way, and so other airlines would match it. But that's gone. They're done. They're done for long haul. They're just going to stay short haul within Europe. So I think prices are going to go up, especially once everyone gets vaccinated, people start traveling. So now is the time to
book
start
now.
making your plans.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. What is it? This is the problem. We're not getting a straight talk from the travel industry. Cruises are starting in April and stuff like that. And so I don't think that's, I would like to book a cruise. I think it'd be safe for me to book a cruise in early 2022, right?
Oh, for sure. Let's pray. I mean, not for sure, but let's pray. And I think, I'm hearing from experts that they're predicting June, July, when the cruises will get back. But I think June's still early. But I do think July and August.
It's still an unknown how fast we're going to get those vaccinations out.
For sure,
and that's the problem.
My dad got vaccinated this week. By the way,
I was going to ask you about that.
His first
That's
dose,
great.
He said he had no effects. He's like, it's a piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
I kept calling him.
Aren't you relieved?
He's like, my arm was sore a little bit.
Aren't you relieved? And then in a few weeks, he'll get his second dose. And a few weeks after that, he won't be immune, but he will be much lower risk. Oh, that's such a relief.
Totally.
I had to browbeat my 88-year-old mother. She said, oh, I didn't get the flu shot either. She said, I don't see anybody. I said, Mom, please, call your doctor. You're 88. They will have the shot. They will have it for you. They'll be ready to give it to you. Please.
Right.
Please.
Oh. And other big news this week, I'm sure you heard about DC, Airbnb, Hotel Tonight canceled all reservations in the DC area. The airlines have really cracked down. Now there's a no pee rule as they did right after 9/11. I remember flying in, before it was 30 minutes before landing and right after takeoff, you couldn't get up to use the bathroom because they were afraid you're going to charge the cockpit door. Now they're saying it's an hour, which
yikes,
great.
That's a long time.
And there will be air marshals on every flight. And it's now it's a $35,000 fine. That was just instituted this week.
Yikes.
So if you're not wearing a mask, before the airline would just ban you, which they've done over 2,000 people. Now they can fine you up to $35,000 or prison because they're going to make it a mandate.
I think people might think I'm a scaredy cat. You're a scaredy cat. I just don't want to take the chance. I'm just going to stay home. I can handle it for a little bit longer.
Agreed.
And honestly,
especially we live in California. The most beautiful state there is.
Yeah.
But every state is beautiful. There's something to see. So once the cases go down, go
do
out.
something. She says, "Can we go somewhere, please?" I said, "Our anniversary's coming up. Her birthday's coming up." She went, "Go." I said, "We're going to have a picnic basket. We're going to go out in the park. And we're going to have a nice picnic." She said, "Okay." And
that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, we'll stay away from everybody and have a nice picnic. Johnny Jet, I tell you what, you will keep us up to date. The minute we can travel, you will let us know. I know. And
without a doubt,
yeah. And
I'll be calling in from somewhere, Florida probably to hug my dad, and then Toronto to see my mother-in-law, and then Hawaii to chill out.
Same thing for me. I'm gonna call Jane. Jane, I'm gonna call you. We're gonna book. Oh, it makes me nervous. Book a cruise for 2022. Do you think it'll be? No, I don't. Maybe not.
Yes. Let's just
go ahead. Let's get the industry back on its feet.
Just read the fine print. Always read the fine print. Make sure you get your money back.
And you get the travel insurance, right?
You got to read the travel insurance very carefully. I use Allianz. Obviously, I'm a brand ambassador, but you got to read the fine print and make sure it's covered.
I think that's what Jane uses as well. Yeah. JohnnyJet.com, that's his website. He's got a great podcast at JohnnyJet.com/podcast, but don't forget the Johnny Jet YouTube channel where he asks 39 questions of travel experts. In fact, I'm honored that I am one of those people. You asked about my travel history and all of that.
Once you do your cruise, we're going to have to re-interview you.
Re-interview me. There's an incentive. How was it? Well, we couldn't serve our own food, that's for sure. And that'll be interesting. Sure. We weren't allowed off the boat. I don't know. See, I'm worried.
That's not for sure.
Yeah. Johnny Jet. Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's the problem. I know. Lisa's not going to let me book a cruise. She says for the next couple of years, we'll go in the United States. We'll go to the East Coast.
Well, a lot of the cruises, by the way, are only going to be 4 days. They're not going to do 7 days.
I would right now. Should see. I would be on my Singapore to Hong Kong cruise. I wonder where I'd be right now.
You'd be making me jealous because
somewhere. I think I'd be in Palau in the Philippines, somewhere like that. Oh
man, I honestly, it just makes you appreciate travel so much more. We used to just take it for granted.
Totally took it for granted. Totally. Not anymore.
And, yeah, man. Anyway, I'm looking at the chat room. 681 Newark to DC. Well, you don't want Mike B saying there's a flight round trip 681 Newark to DC.
No one should go to the inauguration. You can't get it. You won't be able to go watch it.
Do not go there.
It's going to be
not want to go there.
It's like going to Kabul, Afghanistan. Yeah. It's not a good idea.
No.
Oh, it's sad.
But you don't want to do that flight anyway. Whenever I was in New York and I had to go to DC, always take the train. I mean, by the time you get to the airport, go through security. If there's any weather, a lot of times you're on a small plane. I'd much rather be on the train.
Yeah. Let me see my calendar where I would be right.
And actually, I've taken the bus. They used to have these really cheap buses. I'm sure they still do, but $5 sometimes if you buy it in advance.
I'd be today is
$9.95.
Today is a C day. I have the calendar here. Today would have been a C day, and then our next stop would have been Halong Bay, Vietnam. We'll be in Vietnam on the 18th.
You better go get some Vietnamese food tonight. The Chinatown bus, yes, Tokyo Jim.
Oh.
Although, I was just on regular, I think I was on Greyhound, on one of them.
Yeah, we've just left Hong Kong yesterday. And because we started in Hong Kong, then we went all the way around Taiwan and the Philippines, would have gotten back to Hong Kong, and now we'd be on our way to Vietnam, Halong Bay, Chiang Mai.
Vietnam is one of the
Ho Chi Minh
few
City.
Asian countries I've never been to.
Henry loved it. He was there last year this time.
I want to go. Their visa was a problem one time. That's why I didn't go. But man, I just love that whole region.
Yep.
Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore.
This was going to be our introduction to it. And then we would end up in Singapore on the 28th. It's going to be a 22-day cruise. No. 20. What? From flying away to coming back, it would have been 26 days.
And which cruise line again?
Silver Sea, baby.
Silver Sea. That's your cruise line.
Well, we liked it. I don't know if it's my cruise line. I don't know if I have a cruise line yet. I'm still kind of fantasizing. I don't think I can afford it, but I'm still fantasizing about a round-the-world cruise in 5 years. I'll save my pennies. Yeah, the weather's terrible right now in Vietnam. Terrible. That's good. I like it. Now I feel better. There's I was reading about the Curse of the Bambino. There's a sign that was for years in Boston that said reverse curve, but they had modified it to reverse the curse, and the transportation department left it up until they won in 2004. Then the then Governor Mitt Romney and a crew renamed it to Curse Reversed.
I'm still bitter over 2004.
Boston. Yeah. Did they beat the Yanks?
No, well, they beat them in the championship.
Right.
Championship team, and the Yankees were up 3-0. And no one has ever come back.
No Bill Buckner this time, baby.
Well, I love Bill Buckner. I heard he was a great
guy. He was a great guy. Hey, I got to run.
You just have one bad hop.
One bad hop ruins a life. I know. You can call me anytime. I'm your tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo is my number. Patrick from Gulf, Canada on the line. Hey, Patrick, how are you?
Pretty good, Leo. Let me just take you off speakerphone.
Sure. Thanks for hanging on for a while.
Yeah, no problem. I'm another long time listener. Not way back in the screensaver days, but probably about 10 years at least.
Oh, yeah.
In your current environment.
Oh, yeah. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. I live in a retirement community, and I'm kind of your equivalent here. I help a lot of my neighbors with tech problems.
Awesome.
And I spent 3 hours on the phone this morning and using TeamViewer as well.
Nice.
With a neighbor of mine who had a very strange problem. I have no idea what could have caused this. Let me see if I can quickly describe it to you. First of all, she uses Thunderbird.
Okay.
You open up Thunderbird, there are no accounts in it.
Oh, dear.
Secondly, in Chrome, which is her normal browser, no bookmarks. When we look in File Explorer, you click on Documents. It initially looked like there was nothing there. There were only a couple of obscure files. You look into Word, there are no recent files shown there. And
so it sounds like she's not actually in her account.
Well, that's what I thought too. But no, she is. She logs in as normal. There's only one account on the computer, and she logs in under that account.
Is she on Windows 10?
Windows 10. Now, let me explain a little bit further. I did find her files. It turns out what had happened was that for some reason, you know the concept of libraries on Windows 10.
Yep.
And so your library, let's say the documents library.
Essentially, libraries, it's important to think, and this I think is a big mistake to do this, but this is how Microsoft did it. Essentially, think of a library as a saved search query. It doesn't actually represent a folder, it's just a query.
Yeah, but it points to various folders.
Exactly.
Well, it was no longer pointing to a real documents folder.
Yeah.
So I went into the C drive, users, found her username, and clicked on documents, and there, bingo, there's all her documents.
Oh, that's good.
I got that put back into the library, did the same with her pictures and so forth. So we've kind of restored all of that. But I have no idea what could have caused this. She said she was using her computer one day, everything was fine. She turned it on the next day, and it was like this.
Yeah.
Now, and I can't conceive of anything she could have accidentally done that would have removed her account from Thunderbird, removed her bookmarks from Chrome, and somehow taken all of her files out of the normal libraries.
I wish it were impossible. But it's not. It's not. And in fact, a couple of years ago, Microsoft did this to Windows 10 users. There was an update in 2018. Do you know which version of 10 she's running?
I didn't check that.
Yeah. There was an update to 2018 that effectively deleted your profile. And the fix that Microsoft offered for people whom this happened, didn't happen for everybody or they would have caught it before they shipped it, but it happened to enough people. The fix was to create a new profile and then do what you did, because it doesn't delete your files, one hopes, but do what you did, which is basically copy the documents and settings from the old profile into the new profile, recreating the profile. If you search Microsoft support for fix a corrupted user profile in Windows, they have some steps, essentially what you're doing. You did the right thing. You went to the documents and settings, her name, and you found all her files were there. It was the references to the files that had become corrupted.
Yeah.
So you did the right thing, and you could bit by bit do that, but take a look at this support document because they have maybe a little bit of a shortcut.
Well, I'll do that. Now let me tell you about a couple of other things.
This, by the way, isn't so hard to imagine if you think about it. Windows is keeping pointers, references to all of these things, including where your user stuff is, and if those pointers got corrupted somehow. Maybe in the registry there's a base key that says, yes, documents and settings /me, and if that got damaged, all of those references would be broken, and you'd have exactly, just from what you described, that situation, because the references now are pointing to nothing.
Now, there's two or three things. Let me try and pick the easiest one. So I found her files and everything, but I could not find her bookmarks for Chrome. And so I went into, that long path name, username, app data, local, Google, Chrome, default, and the bookmarks file was supposed to be in there, wasn't there.
That's interesting.
And same with Thunderbird. I put her account back into Thunderbird. It's a Gmail account, so she got all her emails back, but no address book. So I found out that the address book is kept in the Thunderbird profile, but I went into the profile there, and there was almost nothing there. And I suspect the profile I was looking at was the one that Thunderbird had just set up because I had just restored her
exactly. And I think that might be what happened to the Chrome bookmarks as well. They got wiped out in a similar fashion. Yeah.
There's no kind of other mysterious place where one could hope to find these things.
So the shortcut that's very useful to know is %, and then in all caps, local app data %. That's a shortcut to where your local user app data is stored. And from there, I would browse around inside Google Chrome and see. Chrome is supposed to make backups. So there may be another folder in that user data folder that has some backups. I don't know if you explored everywhere around there.
I looked in quite a few places in there.
Yeah.
Let me... I'll look at that, too.
Yeah, that's a shortcut for documents and settings / user, all of that garbage.
Right.
I really don't like the way, honestly, the problem with Windows is it's an old operating system that has been patched and fixed and modified, but never really completely redone. And as a result, it has a lot of, I think, quirky and perhaps not too robust systems for keeping track of things. This has happened, it happens from time to time. That's why if you search for corrupt profile or missing profile, you'll find many, many examples of this. Mm-hmm. So I think, it's like the registry, which is also a nightmare idea. Windows heritage is hurting it. Microsoft supposedly is starting a new version, a clean version of Windows. We shall see. we shall see. We're going to put a number of links that the chat room's come up with to help you out up at the website, techguylabs.com, including some useful hints for finding Chrome bookmarks. Chrome is supposed to make a backup of those on a regular basis. So that would be your hope, is that somewhere it might even be, and this is the other trick, is it might be a hidden file, so you want to make sure you...
I had to unhide all the files.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Make sure it was system files as well.
Good.
Eventually found things, but...
you're way ahead of me.
I was looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. Aren't they nice? Hey, you're a good friend to those people in your neighborhood. 3 hours this morning, and you're still working on it. Thank you for being their tech guy. I really think that's marvelous, Patrick.
Okay, great.
Right, take care.
Give me some good pointers. I'll check them out.
Yep. It's hard being the tech guy. And honestly, I had to stop helping neighbors. It breaks my heart because, and that's why you hear me beat this drum over and over. Don't use Windows or Mac. Get a Chromebook or an iPad. But, I'm sympathetic. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches. 8888-ASK. Leo is the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still call. Just use Skype or something. It shouldn't cost you anything. 8888-ASK. Leo. Website where, if you hear something on the show and you want to know, what was that? You don't have to rush and write it down or anything. We've got a guy doing that for you. James DeRuvo, our scribe, puts it all up at techguylabs.com. We even put audio and video from the shows there after the show's over. So that's a good place to go to find out, what did I miss? What did I miss? TechGuyLabs.com. This is episode 1762. Our gizmo guy, GizWiz himself, Dick DeBartolo, coming up at the end of the hour. Meanwhile, let's go back to the phones. Peter, Toronto, Leo Laporte, another Ontario caller. Leo Laporte,
hey, Leo,
tech guy.
Long-time fan, man. I remember when you used to show up here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. Did call for help in Toronto for many years. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy up here, too, like you guys are dealing with.
Oh, I tell you. It's not good anywhere in the world, is it? Well, there are a few places, but yeah, it's a challenge. We'll get through this. We're going to get through it together.
Oh, we will.
Yep.
No, just question. My girlfriend's looking, because now this work from home is really big, right?
Right,
so,
right.
Looking for something, a laptop to work from home, like something like a 14-inch.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stores, so maybe 64 gig.
How does she get into work? Does she get into the work computer, or does she not need to do that?
I think it's mainly using files, like downloading files like through a stick and.
Okay. So she's brought stuff home. What kind of stuff is she doing? What kind of programs is she running?
Mainly like Excel.
Okay.
Just basic files, PowerPoint. That's it.
Okay. Microsoft Office is a big part of her usage. Yeah. Okay. Now, nice thing about that now, as Microsoft has moved a lot of that to the web, you can use PowerPoint, Excel, Word. Office on the web is very good, which means you can pretty much use it on anything. There is nowhere that Office cannot work, which is good news. That means she can use anything that she's comfortable with. The least expensive, and I think most secure computers out there are Chromebooks. And yeah, you could even do that on a Chromebook, but maybe she needs a Windows machine. Do you have a budget?
Are you under 500?
I hear her in the background. What's her name? What, Peter? What's your girlfriend's name?
It's Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Hi. Glad to help. Let's see. There's some good choices out there now. That's a little bit on the low side, but
touch screen too.
Oh, of course. But you don't need the fastest processor in the world, right? You don't need the.
No.
Yeah, I would. There's the companies I really like are actually the top 3 PC makers right now, in order: Lenovo, Hewlett-Packard, and Dell. I used to not like HP, but they've actually cleaned up their act and they make some really nice systems now. In the low price leaders, I would look at Acer, ACER. They make some very low priced and I think nice machines.
And can they connect to like a printer, like anything?
Absolutely, anything can print nowadays. Yeah. So my first choice, it kind of depends what you're looking for. If you want ultra light, good battery life, that kind of thing, Dell makes some nice solutions. If you want something that is built like a tank, maybe isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but is built like a tank, I like Lenovo's. The ThinkPads are very nice, and they have some inexpensive choices. And HP has some very attractive and relatively inexpensive things too. Be careful about going too low on the price. Mm-hmm. For instance, HP makes something called the Stream, but it's very low price. But the problem is it doesn't have enough storage to upgrade Windows. So you can go so low that you really go, oh man, maybe this was a mistake. Mm-hmm. But I would say any of those are going to be fine. Do you want me to say one you should get? Or do you mind? Yes. Usually that's what people want when they say, just tell me what to get, Leo. Don't give me this list of companies. I don't mess around here. And you do want Windows, I think it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to look in your price range. And here's a question. You do want a laptop?
Yes.
Because if you had a keyboard, a mouse, and monitor, you could get an inexpensive little box that you would hook up to those. There are a lot of those out there. But I'm gonna sketch you. We're gonna look at the laptops.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look by price.
You can spend a little bit more just at my price range, just about that. Like you can spend a little bit more.
Okay.
It's not like a.
Yeah, I understand. I would say the Acer Aspire, which are nice slim laptops. You can get one with a 15-inch screen for under $500. If you're willing to spend a little bit more, not much, $550. And I'm talking U.S. dollars, so you'll have to do the conversion to Canadian. But
oh yes, okay.
The Acer, and unfortunately, it's never in your favor, is it?
No, it's never.
No.
It will be one day, though.
Yeah, someday. The Acer Aspire 5 runs an i5, which is a good, decent Intel processor. Has 8 gigs of RAM. That's probably enough for you.
Yeah.
It's got a 256 gig solid state drive. You definitely want that. That's not a lot of storage, but it's enough. It's got a fingerprint reader. It's got which is nice for security. I think it's a nice choice. Let me see if it's a touch screen, because you really did want that touch screen. Sometimes that's
might be a girly thing. I don't know.
No. I wish everything should have a touch screen, in my opinion. I would take a look at that. The Acer Aspire 5. Okay, and you can look it on Amazon.ca and see what the prices are in your neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a really good choice.
Okay, well, no, thanks so much, Leo.
You're welcome,
Bills.
Peter.
So is it the Bills or and the Packers? Which ones do you think are going to win?
Oh, no, the 2 games, right?
I honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to go all the way with the Kansas City folk, but my heart is with the Green Bay Packers, because I love Aaron Rodgers, and I like seeing old men play football. I just think that's...
You got some diehard Bills fans here. So.
Yeah, of course, you're just over
I'm a Dolphins.
Dolphins? Man, no, the Bills. You guys have
our ass kicked 2 weeks ago.
the Bills have a really interesting quarterback. I think you guys have a very good chance. So I'm kind of rooting for the Bills, because it's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, Jim Kelly, man.
That's the old days. Yeah, I think Josh is pretty good, though. I think you got a chance. Are you watching today?
Oh, for sure. We got the wings. We're going to cook the wings soon.
Got the wings. We put out the Green Bay flag because of my son, my stepson Michael. I don't know how this happened. We're all Niners fans, as you might imagine here, but he got into the Packers. And my wife Lisa, who has never in her life worn anything but a Niners jersey during game day, will be wearing a Green Bay Packers jersey today. Shocking, isn't it? Shocking. Hey, it's nice to talk to you both. Have fun.
Okay.
We're all going crazy now.
Okay.
I'll give you a go Bills. Go Bills. They deserve. Buffalo's a great town. They deserve a win.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Take care. A little chilly, but otherwise a nice place. 8888 Ask Leo. If you got a question, a comment, if you want to talk football, I guess we can do that too. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it, yeah. Oh, I don't know if we should play this whole song. Is this going to get weird on us here? Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. Marky Mark never gets that weird, does he? No, he never gets that weird. Judith on the line. She's calling from Santa Monica, California, where it's about 100 degrees in the shade. Hi, Judith.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I've got a couple questions for you.
Okay, good.
The first one is about this TracFone that my brother sent me that I haven't been able to get to work for months.
Oh.
And the second one is I've still got this old iPhone 4 that I'm going to ask you if that's usable.
Might be, yeah. So tell me about the Track. So the TracFone should have in it something they call a SIM card. Do you know about?
Yeah. It supposedly has that all in it, the SIM card, and
you've called TracFone and said, "Hey, can you activate my phone?"
Right. And my brother said that he bought unlimited minutes for the last 2 months, and he bought, it just renews itself. There's no minutes on the phone.
Ah.
Yeah, and every time I can't even call TracFone with my phone because I just have an old digital phone. So I've got somebody else that calls on their phone, and we conference call, and they haven't helped. I haven't been able to get the thing to work.
What, do they give you any reason?
Well, the last time we called, we've called like 4 times. The last time we called, we got this guy from Colombia.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and
so he set it up with auto refill.
Yeah.
And so, in theory, you should have minutes on there.
Right, but there aren't any minutes on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't been able to even use it, and it's just been useless.
How frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's been really frustrating because I don't have any internet. I don't have any phone that I can use. So I've got just this TracFone, and he's been paying for minutes, and it doesn't, and they never can find them when we call.
Can you ask your brother to log into his account online? Because unfortunately, with TracFone, most of their service is online.
Oh.
And so, if he could log into his account, he could see what the status is of your phone. There's even an activate tab on that site that he could do. So this is something that, this is a low-cost phone, and, they save money by not having very good customer service, I'm sorry to say.
Right.
And their idea of customer service is kind of self-help on the web.
Oh.
So if
I'm not on the web.
You're not on the web, obviously.
Oh.
Yeah. Can your brother get online?
Yeah.
Or maybe
I can't even call him because it's long distance.
Yeah. Oh, and once you had the phone working, you'd be able to talk to him all you wanted.
Right, but I can't get the phone to work, and this has been going on since I got the phone.
So do you know anybody who can go on a website?
I could try to find somebody unless you want to.
I can't do it for you, no.
Okay, you can't do it.
I mean, I can, but I have to. I'm doing a radio show. I can't do it. And in order to do that, I would have to get your brother's login information. I wouldn't feel completely safe doing that either. So he needs to. He has an account with TracFone. He must have.
Yeah.
That he used to set this up. He can go on a browser. Send him a letter. Send him a letter. Say, go in your browser, log into your account, and activate my gosh darn phone.
Yeah, his account number is the same number as the it's 352. It's the same number as the serial number on the phone.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to know that. I don't want to know that because I don't. But so. That's the thing, but you'll also need a password. So you need an account number and a password to log in on the TracFone website. And then he could see, I'm presuming he used that to buy the TracFone. He must have because he set up auto refill.
Right.
Then he should be able to log in, and he would say on the website where the phone is, what its status is. And maybe he forgot to do this, but there is an activation button on the site that lets him activate it. If you wanted to use your iPhone 4, the same thing would have to happen. You could take the SIM out of the other phone, put it in the iPhone 4, and then he or somebody with access to his account and a web browser would have to log in and activate that phone.
No, I mean, the iPhone 4 that I have, it's just an old iPhone 4, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I understand.
Okay.
But that phone uses a SIM card, just like the one that's in your TracFone. You could take it out of the TracFone, put it in the iPhone, but you'd have the same problem, which is that your brother, the account holder, has to log into the TracFone site and activate the phone.
Yeah, but I don't understand why the iPhone 4 would be connected to the TracFone.
That's what the SIM card does. So that's why you take, but you don't, this is a silly thing because you can't activate the other one either. But you were asking me about the iPhone 4. Yes, you can, with the TracFone service, bring your own phone.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But what you do is you take the SIM card that you have now and you put it in the iPhone, and that tells the iPhone, oh, I'm a TracFone phone. Here's a question actually from Dr. Mom. Even if the phone is not activated, you should be able to make emergency calls on it.
Oh, I know that.
And you can, right?
Yeah.
So that means, okay, that's good news. That means the phone's working. It's just not activated. Your brother should help you out. You just tell your brother, dude, you need to get on. He needs to get on the account. You can't do it because you don't have his login. You might have the account number, but there's a password involved as well. And once he has done that, he can look at his account. He can see the phones associated with his account, which I presume would be yours. He can make sure it's activated. I think he just didn't. I think he forgot that step. He sent you the phone, and he forgot to activate it. And I'm sorry that the tech support is so crummy. It's really kind of crummy. But that's why it's so inexpensive. The most expensive thing for most of these companies is support. Every time you call them, it costs them, $15, let's say. If it's a short call, it could be a lot more if it's a long call. Their profit margins are so low that all it would take is a few $15 calls, and suddenly they're losing money on you. So that's why they have tech, service in Colombia where labor's cheap and that kind of thing. I think your brother has to activate it. I think that's really the best solution. And I don't know how you're going to contact him and do that, but that's what you need to do. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. You hear me sometimes, and I understand money's tight. I really understand that, especially now. But you hear me sometimes when people say, I want to buy a $200 computer, things like that. Sometimes it's a false economy. You spend so little that you get something you can't use. Then you really wasted your money, right? Boy, it bugs me that their support is so poor. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I say that all the time. Okay, smarty, go to a party. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you to Professor Laura, our musical director. She is good. That's all I can say. 8888 Ask Leo. The GizWiz coming up in just a little bit, but we got time for a few more calls. Let's start with Chuck in San Diego. Hello, Chuck.
Good afternoon, sir. Hopefully this will be a quick and easy one for you.
Okay.
Bought a couple Chromebooks. Bought one at your recommendation. Loved it. Bought another one for the wife. Have an OfficeJet printer. And right about the time I went up and spent a bunch of money loading up on ink for that thing, I started getting a message saying the printer will no longer be supported after December. It still seems to work fine, but what does this mean? Am I somehow at risk using this thing?
I'm mad at Google. I'll be honest with you. I'm mad at Google. They had a thing. No, you're not. They had a thing called Cloud Print that was so cool. You could print from anything to the Google Cloud. They would then pass it on to your printer. Almost all printers, including your OfficeJet, supported Cloud Print. It was a really clever idea. It meant I could be here, print to my printer at home, because I would use Cloud Print. Google would get it in the cloud and then pass it down to the printer. The printer's on the Wi-Fi. I would say, oh, yeah, I'm print. Unfortunately, Google eliminated Cloud Print. Isn't that nice? And what they said was, oh, don't worry. I'm shaking my fist. Don't worry, because, by the way, that's the warning you're getting, because Cloud Print ended last month. Don't worry, because these Chromebooks will have native printing built in. So, especially because you have the OfficeJet, which is one of the most common printers out there, I would guess that I would hope that your Chromebook could print directly to it from your network. So, in the Chromebook settings, if you go to the advanced section, there's a new thing called printing, and there's a list of printers. And if your Chromebook is on the same network, Wi-Fi or wired, doesn't matter, same network as your OfficeJet, it should see it. It should, just like, Windows and Mac do. This Cloud Print made Chrome printing easy. Now we have to do it the old-fashioned way by finding a driver. Now, Google has said when they eliminated Cloud Print. So that's the first thing I would do. That's free. It's just like printing from a Windows machine. You should see HP OfficeJet use that, and it will have the drivers built into Chrome OS, and it should just work. But if you go to the Cloud Print page, they are offering or suggesting two alternatives, third-party companies that are offering Cloud Print kind of printing without using Cloud Print. I don't know anything about them. One's called Direct Print, directprint.io, and Papercut is the other one, .com. They're both mentioned on the Google page, so I got to presume they're going to work and they're okay, but they're probably not free. And then I've seen others like EZP, EZEEP.com, and printix.net, printix.net. But your best bet, and given that you have a well-known printer, I think, is to go into your advanced settings on your Chromebook and see if, under printing, see if you can add your printer. And if you can, then, and it should actually be easier. It's more direct. I guess Google didn't want to run the server anymore. I don't know what Google, what the, Google's lost its mojo. I don't know what's going on with Google. I really don't. They feel like they've just kind of given up. They got about 3 or 4 years ago, they got a new chief financial officer, Ruth Porat. And my sources tell me that that's what really happened to Alphabet and Google. Ruth Porat, who is very good, an excellent CFO, has essentially told the different divisions of Alphabet, you got to make money or you're done. So ever since she became the CFO, she came over there from Morgan Stanley, we have seen Google services fall. There's actually a Google graveyard website now with a list of Google services that have gone away. It's called killedbygoogle.com. And it's a long and lengthening list. Cloud Print's on there. 17 days ago, Google Cloud Print allowed users to print from anywhere, to print from a web, desktop, or mobile to any Google Cloud connected printer. It was over 10 years old. Nice little gravestone. There's a long list of killed by Google. I understand. I mean, a good CFO is, look, we spend money in these areas and we don't want to spend any more, and you're losing money, so we're just going to. I understand that. That's good business, but there is a consequence, and I'm starting to wonder if Google is not sensitive to the very real consequence that many of us are now hesitant to start using Google products because we're afraid we will love it and then they'll kill it. It's happened too many times. And I think in the long run, I think this kind of hurts Google. I think it kind of hurts them a little bit. If you go, I'll put a link to the Migrate from Cloud Print page. It says, before the end of 2020, we recommend that you find another way to meet your printing needs. How hostile is that? You couldn't get more hostile. We recommend you find another way to print. So that's the message you're getting. You should be able to print by adding your printer. If you can't, Google's solution is to kind of fend you off on another company. It just happens too much, I have to say. And you know what it's doing? It's pushing people into the arms of Microsoft and Apple. Because I love Google. There's no search anywhere near as good as Google search, and that's never going to go away. That's where they make all their money. But I have to say, I left Gmail. Gmail's still going, but who knows for how long. I'm very worried about Google Voice because I use Google Voice and Google Fi, which is their phone service. I just feel like I don't know what the future holds for all that. So that's the answer for you. I'm glad you took my advice to get a Chromebook, and I deeply apologize. That's another reason this bugs me, because I'm on the hook because I told people to use these Google services. I thought they were good. What's going to happen to Google? YouTube makes some money. Okay, so YouTube will stick around. Gmail, I don't know. I don't know if that makes some money. I bet you that's a loss leader. Google Search makes some money. Google Ads, that's where they make their money. All the rest, Ruth Porat's going to come along with her axe and say, nope, sorry, to the graveyard with you. If you want a really depressing list, there's 223 products and services at killedbygoogle.com. It makes me sad. It does. Makes me sad. Google, by the way, just finished their acquisition of Fitbit. This week, Google announced, yep, we own Fitbit now. So I guess that means the clock has started. How long before they kill Fitbit? Oh, boy. The GizWiz coming up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Don't forget our website. It's free. TechGuyLabs.com. All the answers live there. TechGuyLabs.com. Everybody, do the hustle. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the chief hustler, Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer and our very own Gizmo wizard. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal? You worn out from coming back from CES?
Yeah. I asked Scott Wilkinson, what his mileage is. He always wears a pedometer at CES, and he said it was about 23 feet. So
yeah,
this would be the time we would be talking hoarsely, coughing, rubbing our feet from a long week prowling the show floor at in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show. Not this year. Are you doing the virtual CES? Did you do that?
I did it. And so I walked longer. I walked about 400 steps because I would walk between my apartment and the studio for all these different virtual events. But the best was Wednesday night after, I think it was Last Gadget Standing was the last live event. And it ended, I thought, you know what? I'm home. Normally, it's an entire day to get back from Vegas.
You got to go to the airport, the Vegas airport, where last chance slot machines are going ding, 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 all the time. And there's all these other techniques.
Yes. And I always get stopped because I bring home stuff for ABC, and they always take me off the line. What is this? What is that? What are these wires? I said it's for an ABC spot. So
didn't have to do any of that this time. That's good. That's nice.
No, and I saved like $3,000.
Yeah, think about it that way. But on the other hand, it wasn't as much fun, was it?
Oh, not at all. Yeah. No, you don't run into people. You don't run into fans. You don't walk down an aisle and like last year and see the guy selling a smart potato who says it's going to replace Alexa by 2021.
I like there used to be this innovation pavilion. You and I walked it last year.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's crazy. Eureka. That's the name of the potato?
That's the name of that section.
The Eureka section.
It's Eureka section, where you would walk down and go.
And the big thing was the Keurig for cookies, the Keurig for milkshake. I mean, we saw an olive oil Keurig where you got a pouch. Remember that they made it was crazy.
Yes,
crazy. So what did you see this time that you thought was cool?
I'll do a couple of zany things next week, but two things I thought you might be interested in.
Good.
One is from LG. Okay, won an innovation award. They have LG has a line called Pure Care of air purifiers.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But Now they have the wearable Pure Care.
What, an air purifier
Yes.
you wear on your what? On your head?
Leah, it replaces you. It replaces your COVID mask.
It's a mask.
Okay. It has twin HEPA filters.
Oh.
It has a sensor system in there that aids breathing. The fans change speeds depending on how you're breathing. And so the air is going through HEPA filters.
Oh, I would
If the
buy this
filter
in a
needs to-
heartbeat.
Well, it's shipping in Asia. It's shipping in the Middle East. But I found a place online that's selling it. It's wildly expensive.
How?
Okay.
How expensive?
The case, $260.
Ah! And how
the
heavy
case-
is it? Does it weigh your face down?
You know what? I don't know. It's very hard to ask questions. It looks a little weird. Okay.
Yeah, but you're safe.
But it's your kind of thing. I thought it'll notify your phone when the speaker has to be when the filter has to be replaced.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. So
somebody in the chat room
something
says it looks like a feed bag.
A little bit.
Don't bother me. I'm chewing my oats. Just leave me alone. All right. That's a good
little
one.
bit.
Okay.
Okay. And then less expensive and doesn't add too much more than some filtering is something called Mask Phone, where they've built in a Bluetooth microphone and earbuds.
Oh, so you can talk on the phone while you're masked up.
Without having to take your mask off. And then there are forward and back buttons for your music built into the mask. That's $50.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah.
No, and that has replaceable N95 filters and 8 hours of play and talk time with one charge and $50. So that's might be more your speed for right now.
Yeah. Do you go? You don't wear a mask because you never leave the house, right?
No, I wear a mask when I leave the house.
Yeah.
I leave the house to walk Charlie, to walk to the marina.
Okay.
And we have to have a mask on to go into any store, which is great because I prefer that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was way harder to talk to people and showstoppers. No, Pepcom had the best deal. Go to their website, 40 brands. And you don't know what a brand is, you click on it, and it's a 1-minute video telling you what they do.
So there's two companies, Showstoppers and Pepcom, that have this used to be fun. I always enjoyed going to these with you. They'd have food, like really good food.
Oh, great food.
And that's to get you to go there because the companies, and there's only maybe a couple hundred in this giant ballroom, pay good money, like tens of thousands of dollars, to get your attention. And the reason is these events happen before the conference, and the lazy journalists from the networks go in there. They get their video, and they get to go home. And so whatever's at these events get the lion's share of press coverage almost every time. Last year we saw the toilet paper delivery robot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for that. I've been calling for toilet paper.
I've been sitting here for a year. It still hasn't shown up. I know. Where's my...
I know. They said, well, he's walking from Vegas and he needs new batteries.
To be charged.
Yeah, so I missed that. I missed the...
I bet there was a lot of mask tech, actually. Because companies jump on whatever the bandwagon of the moment is.
There were, Razer, the people who make high-end laptops, they had a concept thing that had filters in it. It had LED lights. It was clear where your mouth is, so people could see you talking.
Oh, that's interesting. That's not a bad idea.
And it had microphones so that your voice was amplified and you're hearing their voice easier through the mask. Anyway.
So basically, this is going to be Darth Vader's helmet just a couple of 100 years from now.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm wearing the new Razer mask.
Sounds good. Sounds good. You can find a link to both of these masks at Dick's website, GizWiz.biz, GizWiz.biz. If you click the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy button, you'll find all the stuff he's mentioned on the show over the last few years. He's also got a button that says World News Now, gadgets I showed on World News Now, his ABC piece. Do you still go in and do those, or you must Skype in?
No, they said at least through June if we done. Yeah. I have my ABC flag under my GizWiz flag. I just take this off and I'm on ABC.
Go. And then there's always the What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to play a Guess a Gadget, basically, a close-up picture of an kind of obscure gadget. There are 18 autographed copies of Mad Magazine as prizes, 6 for the correct answer, up to 12 for cute, silly answers. And it's always the judge's decision. All the rules are at GizWiz.biz. GizWiz.tv is the podcast that you do with OMG Chad. He didn't go to CES either, did he?
No, he did the same thing. Virtual.
Do you think there was anybody like standing outside the door of the Las Vegas Convention Center thinking, where is everybody? What happened?
I don't think so. But they had a video at CES Online. Every hotel, every marquee, since they're not doing shows, says, we miss you, CES. Please come back in 2022.
Thank you, Dickie D. Have a great week. GizWiz.biz. Oh, we're out of time. Let's do this again, though, okay? I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have a safe Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.